UT. I'm the current president of Nepalese Student Association. The Longhorn chapter of NSA was formed as a social and cultural group, a way to bring the small population of Nepali students on campus closer together. We never imagined what really solidified our bond, what really brought us together as family would be this tragic event. On Saturday, April 25th, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck Nepal and left her paralyzed. The aftershocks continued to shake the earth for days, destroying the balance in our world. Officially, over 5,000 lives have been confirmed lost. Experts fear the count could exceed well over 25,000. 10 million people have been affected. They have lost their properties and home, their friends and families, their sense of safety and security. Villages near the epicenter have been wiped off the map. The historic temples we prided ourselves over have been demolished. Throughout this tragedy, Nepal, her citizens, her friends, have been fighting. People are helping their fellow men overcome. But the sad truth is, at this moment, our country is crippled. Our aid is limited to the city. Little to no relief is reaching the villages. Tonight, we are gathered here to mourn those who have perished, to pray so that our wounds heal as quickly as possible. We are here because we have an unshakable belief that Nepal will rise. I want to thank everyone here for coming together to express their solidarity with us during our moment of need. Thank you to everyone who has contributed. We really appreciate everyone's help. Before we begin, I would like to thank and introduce our honored guests and faculty, Dr. Snehal Shingavi, Dr. Naveen Dahal, Dr. Janet Bogue, Mr. Shirish Pandey, and lastly, Dr. Heather Hinman, who we want to thank specially for her support and advice. Along with them, we have speakers from our own organization. At the end, we will light the candles and have a moment of silence. Our first guest speaker, Bipul Pandey, will help us set the national anthem down. I would like all the NSA family to come up the stage, and we will sing it together. Please come up. Should be in the middle.
सयौं थुङ्गा फुलका हामी एउटै माला नेपाली सार्वभौम भई फैलिएका मेची महाकाली सयौं थुङ्गा फुलका हामी एउटै माला नेपाली सार्वभौम भई फैलिएका मेची महाकाली प्रकृतिका कोटि कोटि सम्पदाको आँचल वीरहरूका रगतले स्वतन्त्र र अटल ज्ञान भूमि शान्ति भूमि तराई पहाड हिमाल अखण्ड यो प्यारो हाम्रो मातृभूमि नेपाल बहुल जाति भाषा धर्म संस्कृति छन् विशाल अग्रगामी राष्ट्र हाम्रो जय जय नेपाल Thank you.
Our next speaker is Santona Pandey, and she just came from Nepal a few days ago, and we would like to hear her speak. Come on up, Santona.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Santona. I came back from Nepal last night. I'm going to tell you what I experienced while I was in Nepal when the earthquake happened. I was in Nepal on 25th April, the day superquake happened, and it left Nepal devastated. I still cannot believe the disaster even after witnessing the destruction while I was in Nepal. It still feels like nightmare. Remembering about the destruction. When I remember the first earthquake, the first quake, I was about to start my lunch and the chair started shaking. The chair started shaking. And then I was so scared, I rushed down from the fourth floor to save myself. But I realized that I could never make it to the first floor, and then I stayed back on the third floor, clinging to the door frame to save myself. We stayed there until the quake stopped. And when the earthquake stopped, we all gathered in the ground, in an open space, because the buildings were collapsing on top of each other, and people were dying. There were not enough manpower to save injured people trapped under the piles of rubble. I was outside for 30 hours before I went to airport, but everyone was outside. We were there. There was no food, there was no water, because all the shops were out of water, even for a girl like me coming from a good family, and my house was just right there, and there was no water to drink. We spent the night hungry and thirsty, and the fear of dying. There were thousands of people begging for their life, in need of food and water, and there was not enough people to help them. Everyone was scared of dying. People were scared. They couldn't go inside their house. They couldn't go to help people to. My life was saved. Yes, I am safe. My families are safe, but I'm not happy that I am safe. I'm alive, because thousands of people are dying, still dying, and they are in need of help. And for a poor country like Nepal, it's not enough. Whatever people are trying to do, it's not enough. So I urge you, everyone, to help Nepal, to help anything you can do. Means a lot to them. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dr. Heather Henman. She's the associate professor who has done extensive work and research in Nepal. Here's Dr. Henman.
Thank you so much. I don't think I can put it more passionately and eloquently than our last speaker, who really experienced a disaster happening. But I think we have to think about the ways in which this is not over and won't be over for a long time. As it was described, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake. Nepal has long been waiting for the big quake, but nobody expected it to be this big, and there wasn't preparation for it. And the particular nature of this quake has meant that there has been no rest in the entire country since Saturday afternoon. The magnitude of the aftershocks has been in the 6 to 7 range for the last 4 days. No one slept, there's no water, and that's only in Kathmandu. That's all we've heard about yet. The Prime Minister of Nepal said today that 5,000 is our current death count, and he easily anticipates that doubling this week. But as I watch social media every day, every hour, reports come in of entire villages that are flattened. There's nothing left. I see before and after pictures, and I can't recognize towns that I've visited, places that I've been. They're gone. What I hear from families is that entire families are wiped out, and that hasn't made the news in the United States yet, because we can't reach those areas. People are walking out of Kathmandu to go to where their families live to try to see if anything's left there. So I think, like many of the members of the NSA, I've spent the last 4 days doing nothing but trying to find out information and trying to understand and trying to hold it together with not a tremendous amount of success. And the only thing that's made me feel better is, in fact, the students and the members of the NSA. And this is a really tragic story, but if I can tell a story of hope for a minute, I've seen the community of Nepalese students and people interested who care about this region come together in such a tremendous way over the past 4 days to come together to do something for this place we all care about. And I've seen the exact same thing happening in Nepal. I've seen neighborhoods come together and say, hey, we need a car to drive out to Sangku to see if we can rescue anybody. And they get halfway there and they walk the rest of the way. This is only 30 miles from Kathmandu, and it's a town that no longer exists. So one of the things I want to say, in addition to emphasizing the extent of this tragedy, is the extent of our capacity to do something about this. I was told today that an earthquake is a phenomenon. It doesn't have to be a disaster. And one of the things we're here to do is try to at least minimize the disaster that is a result of this phenomena that is an earthquake. So I urge all of the people here to do everything they can to educate themselves and to give as much as they can to Nepal, to give intelligently, to do your research, and also to understand that the entire country of Nepal is mobilized right now. I am amazed at the youth groups that are coming together. They're sitting under tarps in their front lawn and assembling the little water they have left to dole out to neighborhoods. They're walking as far as they have to. They're collaborating. So I think I'm really honored to be here in front of the NSA and invited by the NSA, because it's the youth in America turn this phenomena into a tragedy, but not a disaster. And I really hope we can make that happen tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hindman. It really has been difficult for all of us, and we have been trying our best to do what we can. Our next speaker is Dr. Snehal Shingavi. Please come over to the stage. He's assistant professor at UT and fellow of Irish Howard Regents Professor in English Literature. Please welcome him.
So I too have been watching all the images and have been horrified and scared and angry seeing this happen. I have the dubious distinction of being the one faculty member who was involved in the relief efforts for Haiti when the earthquake in Haiti happened, flood relief in Pakistan when the major flood disaster happened a few years ago, and now watching this happen. It's sort of extraordinary to see the kinds of human suffering that can happen in the world. But as a consequence of being involved in those actions, I've also seen the extraordinary outpouring of support and solidarity and community in order to help these communities survive. So I want to do two things here. The students asked me to talk about how we maintain our vigilance when the media stops paying attention to what's going on in Nepal. So I want to give you both a message of concern, because we've learned some lessons based on what happened in Haiti and Pakistan that you should know, and then a message of hope, because they're taking that knowledge, you should go forward and think about what it is that you can do in terms of what is happening. There's an economic theorist, political theorist named Naomi Klein, and she talks about what happened in Haiti in this way. She says that what happened was disaster capitalism, that people who wanted to take advantage of a tragedy, and some of the worst tragedies that happened in Haiti, were able to empty out entire neighborhoods, redevelop them for themselves, and make sure that the poor were the ones that were suffering and the rich were the ones that did well. Because the thing that we learned in Haiti is that earthquakes are eminently survivable. The houses of the rich were perfectly fine. It was the poor who were living in some of the most vulnerable areas who did the worst. And the real estate market was happy to buy up those houses and do what it wanted with them. The NGOs were unable to do anything to push back against that sort of land grab. The same thing happened in Pakistan when the dams and barrages broke during the flood. It was the poor who were the ones living next to the dikes who suffered the most, and the rich came in and grabbed their land once the waters had receded. This is a story that we've seen in place after place, and the reason to remain vigilant is Professor Heinemann is absolutely right. This has the potential of becoming an even worse disaster if the social conditions in Nepal allow this sort of suffering to continue and allow what we've seen happen in other places to happen in Nepal as well. So the reason to pay attention here is because the process of this becoming a tragedy or becoming a disaster, becoming something that will be a reason for us to be hopeful, depends on everybody caring about what happens in Nepal for at least another year. Reasons why people are suffering right now have to do with the lack of infrastructure, the lack of available medical care, the lack of decent running water, the lack of electricity, not to mention what was taking place in the villages where none of that is actually real for most people. So I think that there are real reasons why people need to get involved in some kind of an organization that is paying attention to what is happening, because disasters are awful for people who are poor. The rich have found a way to make them immense opportunities for themselves, and we should be really vigilant about what is happening. But the reason to be incredibly hopeful is that in each of these instances, and if you are old enough to remember what happened after Hurricane Katrina, there was an enormous outpouring of solidarity and support and a willingness to want to do something. Our job is to take that willingness to do something and organize it in the most thoughtful and important and durable way that we can, so that meaningful assistance is given to Nepal, that real solutions are provided to this social tragedy, and that we can come away from this with a Nepal that is able to withstand earthquakes, because earthquakes should not kill. We have now, many of you are engineers, and will know the engineering that will allow us to prevent this sort of disaster from happening, from houses to collapse and roads to not withstand this sort of attack, this sort of event. They should not happen, but they do happen because we are not vigilant about the kinds of societies that we are watching all around us. So I want to encourage you to get involved in some way, but I also really want to encourage you to stay vigilant, because the earthquake is not the only story that's going to happen. It's going to be a story of an immense social transformation in Nepal, and it could be for the better if we do our work. It can also be very much for the worse if we do not do our work. And that's the reason why coming out here to be in solidarity and to pay witness to what happened in Nepal is incredibly important, but it's going to be incredibly important to commit yourself to a longer process of paying attention and being involved in what is going on in Nepal. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Dr. Naveen Dahal, Senior Labs Safety Specialist in UT, well known throughout Austin Nepali community. Please come up to stage. Naveen Dahal.
Namaste. Good evening, everybody. Today, I'm standing in front of you to share the feeling of emotion, feeling of tragedy, and to express our condolences for the people of Nepal who lost their life in the devastating earthquake last Saturday. We are praying here for the peaceful rest of their soul in heaven. While I'm speaking here, many people are crying under the debris of concrete, bricks, soil, rock, and timber. Many of our brother and sister, dad and mom, grandpa and grandma are missing. At the same time, survivor family members and their relatives are waiting for good news of their loved one. Some family lost their member and no more in this world. Small kids who have dreamed to touch the future horizon of success are now without the parents and relatives. Their life of the country and the hope of the society collapse just like an avalanche. In the same way, it is very painful to share with you that several hundred years old archaeologically important iconic temples and never replicated symbol of civilization listed in UNESCO World Heritage List are partially or completely destroyed by a massive earthquake. Those were one of the ornament and beauty of our nation. We all know that life is precious gift of God and we save it for the good cause. We're trying our best and extending our efforts from every corner of the globe to help the survival. For our efforts, the entire globe is joining their helping hands with the Nepalese people to save our country, all the way from Americas to Australia and Europe to Asia. We would like to thank everyone in this yard, especially Nepalese Student Association, UT Austin, the University of Texas at Austin, where myself associated with and I'm working with environmental health and safety. All the people of University of Texas at Austin, the government of United States of America, and the entire world. On this precious moment, we hope to have your warmest hand of support and cooperation with us. We believe the moment of tragedy will be defeated and happiness and progress will be revived soon. Any form of help, a single penny, a moral support, an encouragement, a motivation are the key to overcome this situation. Again, thank you for your reputable present over here. I'm also associated with one of the small community organization here at Austin, US Nepal Welfare Society. And if you want to donate or want to help in any forms, you can go for any of the organizations exist in the city. And definitely the work put forwarded by our young guys, Nepalese Student Association, UT Austin chapter is highly commendable, and I would like to thank you for your efforts and work. Thank you very much, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Naveen Dahal. Next up is Angie Equitela. Please come up here.
Hello, everyone. So I went to Nepal about a year ago, and I've never seen a people more hardworking than the Nepalese. In Nepal, I met men and women that got up in the morning and carried 50 to 40 pounds on their backs up the mountain just to get food up to their families. I saw teens and children who had nothing compared to the mere 15-minute walk that we have to school from West Campus. They walked 10 to 15 miles in mountainous regions just to get the hope for a better future and the chance to get an education. In Nepal, I saw people that don't just dream for a better future. I saw people that had the determination to go achieve that dream. So Nepal might be a poor country, but they have the most hardworking people I've ever seen. And I read the NSA post as soon as the earthquake hit, and I was just completely heartbroken by all the pain and destruction that they're facing right now. But I saw the most loving and united people. And I think it is the spirit of unity which gives me the hope that they will come forth stronger than ever. I believe in Nepal, and I will invest in Nepal because I believe that Nepal has within them the spirit of hope and unity that will give them the strength to come out of this. But they can't do this alone. Nepal is the 31st poorest country in the world, and they can't do this without our help. As our first speaker put it, they have no food nor water or anything. So I encourage all of you to just help these people because I think that they will come forth and really strive for a better future. Thank you.
Angie. Our next two speakers are Sindhu and Alpha. They're both our Nepali UT students, and please come up the stage.
Hi everyone, we're going to share our personal experience of the earthquake.
Nepal struggled to sleep on Saturday night, away from homes and buildings under the gloomy sky. Throughout the night, the fitful sleep of those who survived Saturday's devastating 7.8 earthquake was disturbed constantly by the earth's rocking aftershocks as family members abroad were frantically trying to contact them.
Across the globe, the news of the disaster hit me very hard since most of my friends and family live in Nepal. I made endless phone calls to my loved ones, hoping to hear the news of their safety. I was constantly in phone conversation with them throughout those 48 dreadful hours of aftershock. I could feel their fear and pain and the state of helplessness. In fact, the rocking lasted so long that my friends went on to say that they don't think they will survive.
You know how you sometimes count the pattern or tile of cracks on the bus or bathroom? Similarly, I knew which tiles on the road to school I did not want to take, and which was the perfect place to play hopscotch. Our childhood memories are embedded within these rocks and people around. Elderly on top of temple steps would call out to be careful to us. Unfortunately, I could not be there Saturday to give them the call or provide a helping hand to those students who were playing on the same ground as I was, and repay the elderly. My gut wrenched, and I did not know how to ask the tears to stop.
There are countless lessons here for us all, if only we are willing to learn. A country is only as resilient as its people, and no matter what we lose, as long as we have the people, we will rebuild and we will recover. But those of us who have survived must and will army on, if only in the memory of all that we have lost.
Thank you, Sindhu and Alpha. That was wonderful. Our next, in line is Dr. Janet Boak. She's the former U.S. Charger d'Affaires to Nepal, and we're very lucky to have her. Please welcome Dr. Janet Boak.
Good evening, namaste. Raise your hand if you feel very strongly that you should be in Nepal right now. I think all of us feel that we should be there. It should be our hands that are clearing the rubble and bandaging the wounded. But we're here and not there, and that's a very hard thing. I think I'm particularly grateful to the NSA for organizing this, because this is something we can do here. Not only remember those who've been lost and appeal for help, but really build the community of people who care about Nepal. To bring us together in the short term, we can give each other consolation and comfort and encouragement. In the long term, I hope we can stay in touch as a community, work together as a community, be strong as a community, because Nepal is going to need the community of people who care about it. I spent most of my adult life dealing with disasters, natural and human, and there is a sad truth that the world does move on, because there is always another disaster that it needs to pay attention to. And so it's really going to be up to us, up to you, up to all of us, to stay connected, stay committed, and keep on working to help Nepal in the very long road that it has ahead to rebuild. So please stay in touch, stay together, help each other, work together, and together we can find some good things to do for Nepal. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Roshan Shrestha. He's a student in UT, Nepali student, and he has written a poem for us. Please Please welcome Roshan Shrestha.
Thank you all for coming. I'm gonna express my words and recite my poem in Nepali. यहाँ आज पाल्नुभएका सम्पूर्ण नेपाली परिवारलाई मेरो तर्फबाट नमस्कार गर्न चाहन्छु र यस्तो भीषण अवस्थामा हामी सब मिलेर हाम्रो देशलाई सहयोग गर्ने बेला आएको छ र मलाई विश्वास छ हजुरहरूले एउटा न एउटा सेक्टरबाट हेल्प गरिरहनु भएको छ कतिले नेपालमै गएर सहयोग गर्न खोज्नु भएको होला तर परिस्थितिको कारण जान सक्नु भएन होला मैले पनि जान खोजेको थिएँ तर मैले प्रोफेसरहरूलाई मेरो फाइनल एक्जाम चाँडै लिएर नेपाल जान दिनुस् भन्दाखेरि दुईजना प्रोफेसरले मान्नुभयो दुईजना प्रोफेसरले मान्नु भएन उहाँहरूले कोर्स इन्कम्प्लिट राखिदिन्छु भन्नुभयो र इन्टर्नसिपमा पनि मलाई 1 महिना ढिला स्टार्ट गर्न दिनु म नेपाल गएर भोलिन्टियर गर्न चाहन्छु भन्दाखेरि उहाँहरूले पनि बढीमा 15 दिन ढिला स्टार्ट गर्न मिल्छ त्योभन्दा बढी मिल्दैन भन्नुभयो हामीहरू सबैजनाको आफ्नो बाध्यता छ तर आफूले सक्ने सेक्टरमा हामीले सहयोग गर्नुपर्छ किन भन्दा हाम्रो नेपाल आमालाई अहिले हाम्रो सहयोगको खाँचो छ आज हामी यहाँ ढुक्कसँग बसिरहेका छौँ तर नेपालमा धेरै दाजुभाइहरू हुनुहुन्छ जसको घर छैन बस्ने ठाउँ छैन र खानालाई खानेकुराहरू छैन त्यसैले हामीले आफ्नो तर्फबाट गरेका छौँ नेपाली स्टुडेन्ट एसोसिएसनबाट पनि कलेजमा हामीले पैसा उठाएका छौँ र हाम्रो किड्स अर्गनाइजेसनबाट पनि अनलाइन केही रकमहरू जुटाएका छौँ र त्यसै गरी आफ्नो सेक्टरबाट लागिदिनु हुन सम्पूर्ण नेपाली दाजुभाइ दिदीबहिनीहरूलाई आग्रह गर्न चाहन्छु र मेरो कविता सुनाउन चाहन्छु र कविताको शीर्षक रहेको छ कसम छ कविता अ प्रमिस टु माई पोएम धरहराको छायामा बसेर कविता लेखिरहँदा धरहराको छायामा बसेर कविता लेखिरहँदा धरहरासँगै ठोक्किँदै मेरो कानसँग सुसेली लाउँदै सरर बगिरहेको हावा याद आउँछ त्यसै लगत्तै कैयौँ खुड्किला पार गरेर स्वयम्भूका आँखासँग आँखा जुदाउँदै तोरणहरू फरफराउँदै गरेको स्वच्छ हावामा बसी लेखिरहेको कविता याद आउँछ मेरो कवितामा बसन्तपुरका रमाइरहेका मन्दिर थिए मन्दिरभित्रका मुस्कान छरिरहेका मूर्ति थिए शान्ति खोज्दै आएका बटुवा थियो बटुवाको लागि भारी बिसाउने सानो चौतारी थियो आज अचानक मेरो कविताको शीर्षक हराएको छ मेरो धरहरा एक तल्ले पनि रहेन स्वयम्भूका आँखाबाट आँसु बगेका छन् सुन्दर बसन्तपुर आज कोलाहलपुर भएको छ कठै बिचरा मेरी कविता आज टुहुरो भएकी छिन् चिन्ता नगर मेरी कविता मेरो कलम कहिले रोक्ने छैन तिमीलाई सिर्जना गर्दा गर्दै 90 सालमा पनि एकपटक शीर्षक हराएको थियो तिमीलाई सिर्जना गर्दा गर्दै 90 सालमा पनि एकपटक शीर्षक हराएको थियो अनि तिमीलाई पुनः लेखेको थिएँ यसपटक पनि भोलिको नौलो बिहानीसम्ममा उही शीर्षकको नयाँ नौलो कविता रचिसकेको हुनेछु भोलिको नौलो बिहानीसम्ममा उही शीर्षकको कविता रचिसकेको हुनेछु मजबुत भएर बस कविता भोलिको सुनौलो किरणसम्ममा तिमीलाई नयाँ छन्दमा रचिसकेको हुनेछु भोलिको सुनौलो किरणसम्ममा तिमीलाई नयाँ छन्दमा रचिसकेको हुनेछु म लगायत सारा नेपालीको कसम छ तिमीलाई थ्याङ्क यू
Roshan, तिमीले धेरै मिठो कविता भन्यौ. Thank you very much. That was a beautiful poem. And next up, I would like to ask Shirish Pandey, who is a very active member in Nepali, active member in the Austin community. Please come out.
Hi, my name is Shirish Pandey, and I live here in Austin. Like most of you, or some of you, I was born in Nepal, and like some of you, My parents actually are from outside of Kathmandu. My dad's from a place called Gorkha, which is the epicenter of the devastating earthquake. In Gorkha, we are from a very small village called Khoplang. There is only one house that's standing in Khoplang right now. We do not know how many deaths are there in Khoplang. The stories are similar across all the villages in Gorkha. Be it Finam, Mulchok, Barpak, Sorpani. There are entire villages that have been wiped out, literally wiped out. In the district of Gorkha itself, almost 80% of the houses are down. Our house is down. My wife is from Kathmandu. Her dad's from a small town outside of Kathmandu called Sanku. In that place, 80% of the houses are down. The immediate family from her dad's side, some of them are in the hospital. There's also a death in my mother-in-law's cousin's house, which is in Kathmandu. And for some reason, we here consider ourselves to be lucky to be alive. But the death and destruction in all the places, including Kathmandu, Kabre, Raswa, Gorkha, they keep coming. Some of these places are so remote, it takes days to get there. Not just one day, it takes days to get there. We don't even know what's happening over there. We have no stories. We have no stories to tell. The Red Cross, the big organizations haven't been there. There's no TV cameras. There are no people. There's no road. Some of these stories are horrible. There are no villages on the top of the hill anymore. The entire village have been either gone by the landslide or by the earthquake. We don't know. We don't even know how many people are alive. There are stories from Dubai in Gorkha where people are standing in the rain. The houses are no longer there. There are no roofs. So it's for us. For the dead, there's nothing we can do. They are gone. But for the living, you are the hope. We are the hope. We need to help those people who are living. So far, we have raised from the soccer players, we have raised about $16,000. By the end of the week, we are sending $5,000 to a grassroots organization that's operating in Gorkha and in Raswa. I would urge all of you to come forward and help. Please open your heart. There's 1 million children who need help in Nepal right now. Donate in any way. Pick a charity, pick an organization. Doesn't matter. Donate to anyone that can help Nepal. That is what I ask from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Suresh Pandey. Our next speaker is Bhavika Joshi. She's the Vice President of Nepali Student Association. Please welcome Bhavika Joshi.
I just want to ask if everyone has a candle. If you don't have a candle, if you could please raise your hand and one of our volunteers will come get you a candle. My strongest memory of Nepal from my childhood was when I was leaving Nepal. I spent 3,131 days in Nepal. I was born there and I was raised there for just a little over 8.5 years. As the plane flew out of the Kathmandu airport over rolling hills and mountains, I looked over at my mother, who had been teary all afternoon, and sobbed. I sobbed at the thought of leaving my whole family. I sobbed at the thought of going to a place so foreign from any place that I'd ever visited. I just sobbed. I promised myself, flying away from the airport, that I would return one day and I would help in whatever way that I could. When I mentioned my view out of the airplane window of the rolling hills and mountains, I promise that I'm not overcompensating. Nepal is the most beautiful country that I've ever laid my eyes on. Nepal is an adventurer's dream. Nepal has mountains and valleys and greenery. There are rivers and lakes, and we're home to gorgeous animals of all kinds. People come to Nepal to trek and hike and kayak. They come to vacation. They come to seek better times. They come to visit monuments and temples. For the Nepalese people, these terrains and those historic monuments are home, and with this earthquake, home has been destroyed.
This earthquake has impacted every single Nepali individual. Every single time I open my Facebook, I'm haunted by the rising death count and the images of thousands and thousands and thousands of people without a home or food or electricity or water. I found myself time over time in tears this week. This event has been so emotionally tolling on my friends and family here, but it is nothing in comparison to the conditions in Nepal currently. It is nothing in comparison to our families that have been living out in tents this whole week. It is no comparison to my many friends here in the audience who have lost family in this tragedy. It is nothing in comparison to the thousands who have not received critical medical attention. It is no comparison to the Nepali people worldwide who have not been able to contact their family in Nepal. I have lived less than 4,000 days in Nepal, but more than 4,000 have already lost their lives just this week to this horrific earthquake. No amount of words or pain can properly explain what the Nepalese community has been through this week. There are a lot of things that can be said about this disaster, but there are a lot more things that can be done. The events that happened this past weekend are beyond tragic, but now it's our job to come together, to support our fellow Longhorns, and to aid this country and these people that really need us right now. Thank you to the UT community for all of your support this whole week. Thank you to the multiple organizations that have come together to host various fundraisers. Thank you to every person who has donated time and effort and money to this cause. If I could spend the rest of my life saying thank you, I would, but it still would not be enough. But thank you, thank you, thank you. At this time, if everyone has their candles lit, we'd like to have a moment of silence for all the victims that have lost lives in this earthquake. Thank you so much for coming here and for supporting our cause. Thank you to everyone who has supported us this whole week. We've been having a week-long fundraiser that will continue tomorrow and Friday. We're in West Mall and we're at Gregory Gym from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. every single day. Thank you for supporting us in this vigil and for being here. All the UT organizations that have come together, everyone that has just come out and supported us. We will still be taking donations throughout